Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Now we will continue with the topic pericardium. We have completed the pleura and the lungs in the previous videos. Those who have not subscribed to our channel, do subscribe now. Keep watching our videos to have the continuation of the thorax classes. Now we will move on to the pericardium and the heart topics. Today's topic is the pericardium. Pericardium, so surrounding the heart. It is a conical, so you can observe it is conical shape of the pericardium. Fibroserous sac, which contains the heart and the roots of the great vessels attached to the heart. So that is the definition of the pericardium. Situation, it is situated, already we have seen, the middle mediastinum contains the heart and the pericardium. So it is situated in the middle mediastinum behind the body of the sternum. So that is the situation of the pericardium behind the body of sternum and second to sixth costal cartilages and in front of the bodies of fifth to eighth thoracic vertebra. So that is the situation of the pericardium. Now we will see its component parts. Pericardium consists of two parts: outer fibrous sac and inner serous sac. So these are the two parts of the pericardium, outer fibrous and inner serous. So we will see in this picture. So this is the sagittal view of the pericardium. When you see this outermost, this is the fibrous pericardium, and the next pericardium is the serous pericardium. First we will see the fibrous pericardium details, then we will move on to the serous pericardium. Fibrous pericardium, if you observe, it is cone shaped. So this is the fibrous pericardium, which is cone shaped bag with a truncated apex above. So this is the apex of the fibrous pericardium. So apex of the fibrous pericardium is above. Students should note this apex of the fibrous pericardium is above, but if you learn the apex of the heart, it is to the left. So both are different. So what is this function of fibrous pericardium? It keeps the heart in position and helps to prevent the over distension of the heart. If you see the heart lies, so this is the heart lies within the fibrous pericardium. So it is lies completely within the fibrous pericardium, but outside the serous pericardium. So this is the serous pericardium. If you see, it is this two layers we will learn. So heart lies outside the serous pericardium but inside the fibrous pericardium. Fibrous pericardium is an open sac and pierced by some vessels, you can observe. They are the structures piercing the fibrous pericardium. Now we will see the attachments of the fibrous pericardium. So this is the apex of the fibrous pericardium. It blends with the external coat of the ascending aorta. So this is the ascending aorta and arch of aorta and pulmonary trunk. So this is the pulmonary trunk and is continuous with the pretracheal layer of deep cervical fascia. You will learn that deep cervical fascia in the head and neck region. It will consist of three layers: investing layer, pretracheal layer and prevertebral layer. So this fibrous pericardium is continuous with the pretracheal layer of deep cervical fascia. Below, if you see, this is the below fibrous pericardium, its base, otherwise this is the base of fibrous pericardium. This base of fibrous pericardium fuses with the upper surface of central tendon of the diaphragm and also a part of musculature of the left part of the diaphragm. So just below this, below this fibrous pericardium, we have the diaphragm. It is fused with the diaphragm. This fusion, if you see, it is the developmental fusion, because both fibrous pericardium and this central tendon of the diaphragm will develop from the both this fibrous pericardium and the central tendon of the diaphragm will develop from the septum transversum. You should have learnt in the embryology what is septum transversum. So this fusion is very important, which holds this important viscera in position in the thorax. In front, it is attached to the, so we have learnt in the mediastinum, in the anterior mediastinum, we have the sternopericardial ligaments, so that they are the in front relations of the fibrous pericardium. Structures piercing the fibrous pericardium, ascending aorta, so we have seen in this ascending aorta, superior and inferior vena cava, right and left pulmonary arteries, and 4 pulmonary veins. So all the structures attached to the 4 chambers of the heart, they pierce the fibrous pericardium. All these structures will receive a prolongation from the fibrous pericardium except the inferior vena cava. So we have learnt the fibrous pericardium attachments. So we have learnt attachments of the fibrous pericardium, structures piercing the fibrous pericardium. Now we will see the relations of the fibrous pericardium. Relations: in front, it is simple anterior thoracic wall, separated by anterior margins of both lungs and pleura. If you see below the left costal cartilage, pericardium comes in direct contact with the left half of the lower 2 pieces of the sternum. Lower 2 pieces of the body of the sternum, because anterior margins of the left lung and pleura deviate from the midline towards the left side. Before puberty, remains of thymus gland may intervene between the thoracic wall and the fibrous pericardium. So they are the relations of the anterior part of fibrous pericardium. Now behind or posterior, so behind this pericardium and heart, which mediastinum is situated? Posterior mediastinum. So it is the anterior boundary of the posterior mediastinum. So naturally it will be related to the structures in the posterior mediastinum, which you know, I think we have learnt in the mediastinum class. So in front we have completed, behind we have completed. On each side, cardiac impression of the corresponding lung and phrenic nerves and pericardiacophrenic vessels. So they are the on each side. Below we have learnt just now, it is related to the diaphragm. Below the diaphragm, left lobe of the liver and fundus of the stomach. So they are the abdominal viscera separated by the diaphragm. So we have completed this fibrous pericardium. So if you are asked pericardium, you have to write in detail about this fibrous and serous pericardium. So now we will start with the serous pericardium. Serous pericardium is a closed sac. So this is the serous pericardium we have seen. It is a closed sac. It lies within the fibrous pericardium. So this is the serous pericardium, this blue color is the serous pericardium. You can understand this, it is lying within the fibrous pericardium. Serous pericardium consists of 2 layers, same like our pleura, which we have learnt in the pleural class. We have learnt outer parietal. So this is the parietal layer of serous pericardium, and this is the inner serous layer of fibrous pericardium. So there's 2 layers. Between these 2 layers, This potential sac contains a capillary layer of fluid which is sufficient to allow the free movement of the heart within the fibrous pericardium. So that is the pericardial cavity. Now we will see the two layers. Inner serous consists of two layers, outer fibrous and inner serous. We will learn these two layers in detail now. Outer parietal. Outer parietal, we can see it lines the inner surface of the fibrous pericardium, and the outer parietal lines the inner surface of fibrous pericardium. So this is the parietal layer. It is lining the fibrous pericardium and is intimately blended with the later. So it is blended with the later. Now visceral pericardium, visceral layer, parietal and the visceral. So this visceral layer or epicardium, this visceral layer is called, otherwise called as epicardium. It's a outer layer of the heart. So heart consists of endocardium, myocardium and epicardium. So this visceral layer or epicardium, it covers the heart. So this visceral layer covers the heart. So this is the heart we have seen. It covers the heart and the roots of the great vessels attached to the heart. It is separated from the myocardium by subserous areolar and fatty tissue. The continuity between parietal and visceral layers is established in form of two tubes. So this parietal layer and visceral layer is in this continuity we have in the form of two tubes. We will see in this pericardial sac frontal view after removal of the heart. So if you see, this is the serous layer. We have drawn two tubes. One tube is this and this is the another tube. So this continuity, it is continuous with a parietal layer in the form of two tubes. What is this continuation? We will see. One tube surrounds the ascending aorta. So this is the ascending aorta and the pulmonary trunk. So this is one tube surrounding the ascending aorta and the pulmonary trunk. The second tube surrounds four pulmonary veins. So these are the four pulmonary veins. Four pulmonary veins and the two vena cava, superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. So this is the another tube. This is another tube. So otherwise this is arterial tube. One tube we have learned, this is the arterial tube and this is the venous tube. Otherwise this is the arterial end of the heart, primitive heart, this arterial tube, and this is the venous end of the primitive heart in the development. This reflection of the venous tube, if you see this reflection of the venous tube to the parietal layer is inverted J-shaped. So this is the inverted J-shaped reflection. Now we will see features within the serous pericardium. We have two sinuses between the serous pericardium. So the sinuses may be asked as short notes for you. One is the transverse sinus, and two is the oblique sinus. So here if you see, this is the transverse sinus and this is the oblique sinus. So this transverse sinus, which we will see first, this transverse sinus or oblique sinus or as such sinuses of pericardium may be asked. So if as such sinuses of pericardium are asked, you should write transverse and oblique also. So what is transverse sinus? It is a transverse passage. So this is the transverse passage between two tubular reflections. So this is one tubular reflection and another is this, between two tubular reflections of serous pericardium, and it is lined by visceral layer only. So this is one visceral layer and this is the another visceral layer. It is an intervisceral space. So that is the transverse sinus. So now we will see the boundaries of transverse sinus in front. So in front we have to see in this diagram, in front ascending aorta and pulmonary trunk enclosed in a single tube of serous pericardium, because both will be developing from the truncus arteriosus if you learn the development of the heart. Behind, if you see, this is the behind, we will take the another color. Behind, if you see, this is the behind intrapericardial part of superior vena cava and upper margin of left atrium. So left atrium contains the 4 pulmonary veins. So this is in front and this is the behind relations of transverse sinus. Above, so in this above and below we will see in this diagram. So this is the transverse sinus in this diagram and this is the oblique sinus. So if you see the transverse sinus above, bifurcation of pulmonary trunk. So this is the pulmonary trunk, above bifurcation of pulmonary trunk, below upper surface of left atrium. So we will see in this picture also, this is the transverse section of the pericardial sac. So this is right atrium and this is left atrium and this is ascending aorta and pulmonary trunk. So this is the transverse sinus and this is the oblique sinus. Above, bifurcation of pulmonary trunk. Below, this is the upper surface of left atrium. If you draw here this partition, so now you can understand below upper surface of left atrium. So that is they are the boundaries of the transverse sinus in front, behind, above and below. Now oblique sinus, we will learn the oblique sinus. We will take another color. Oblique sinus, it is a cul-de-sac behind the left atrium. So this oblique sinus we can appreciate here. So if here is the left atrium, it is a cul-de-sac behind the left atrium. In this picture also you can appreciate this behind the left atrium. So that is the oblique sinus and is closed on all sides except below. So this oblique sinus you can appreciate in this, it is closed on all sides and it is except below, it is closed except below. So otherwise it is open below. It lies within the inverted limbs of the inverted J shape. So this is the J shape, inverted J shape. So within this limbs of the inverted J shape tube, this oblique sinus is present. It is present between parietal layer and visceral layer. This transverse sac is present only between the visceral layer. This oblique sinus, transverse sinus, this oblique sinus is present between the parietal and the visceral layer. Otherwise, it is a parieto-visceral space. This oblique sinus is the parieto-visceral space. Transverse sinus is the intervisceral space. So that is the difference, major difference between these two sinuses. Now we will see the boundaries of the oblique sinus, same as in front, behind. Then we will see above, right side and left side. In front, so this is the in front left atrium. So that is the in front. Behind, parietal layer of fibrous pericardium, covering the posterior part of the fibrous pericardium. Right side we have to see in this diagram, right pair of pulmonary veins. So this is the right side. Left side we will have the left pair of pulmonary veins. Above, again if you see this above in this picture, that is above is the left atrium, oblique margin or upper margin of left atrium. So now we will have completed the oblique sinus and transverse sinus in detail. Some peculiarities are present. Oblique sinus is present behind the left atrium. So this oblique sinus is present behind the left atrium, and transverse sinus is present above and in front of left atrium. Between the roof of oblique sinus and the floor of transverse sinus intervenes the upper margin of left atrium. So these are the some of the peculiarities of the transverse sinus and the oblique sinus. Now we will see the arterial supply of pericardium and venous drainage of pericardium. Arterial supply, fibrous and parietal layer by the branches of one artery running in the anterior thoracic wall, internal thoracic artery, and also by descending thoracic aorta. Visceral layer by the coronary arteries. Venous drainage, same, internal thoracic vein and the azygos vein. Nerve supply, fibrous and parietal layer by the phrenic nerves and visceral layer by vagus and sympathetic nerves. So this is the arterial supply, venous drainage and nerve supply. One more thing we have to learn in this pericardium before we go to the applied anatomy is fold of left vena cava. So this may be asked as very short, 2 marks, 3 marks. Fold of Marshall. Fold of Marshall. It is a triangular fold of serous pericardium which extends from the left pulmonary artery to the upper left pulmonary vein. To the upper left pulmonary vein. The base of the fold is free and is directed to the left, which contains the fibrous remnant of the left duct of Cuvier, which you will again learn in the development of the heart. Then you will be understanding what is this Cuvier and all. For time being, I have completed this fold of left vena cava or fold of Marshall. So this development of pericardium and this development of the primitive heart you will be learning in the systemic embryology. Then you will understand the development of this pericardium also. We have the development of the cardiovascular system in our channel in the systemic embryology. So you can go through this development of the heart and pericardium in the systemic embryology playlist. Now we will move on to the applied anatomy. Applied anatomy of pericardium. What is this clinical importance of transverse sinus? Why we should know this transverse sinus? During cardiac surgery, so if you become cardiac surgeons, you should put the ligature through this transverse sinus around this aorta and pulmonary trunk to control the hemorrhage. So that is the importance of transverse sinus. Next is the pericardial tamponade. So pericardial tamponade. An accumulation of fluid in the pericardial sac. So in this fluid may accumulate. So this is the pericardial sac. Some fluid is accumulating in this pericardial sac. It may be blood or serous. Will compress the heart and decrease the diastolic capacity. Results in the diminished cardiac output. So that is the cardiac tamponade. So that is a serious complication of this pericardial collection. So now we have the pericardial collection. How to treat this? So we should know this paracentesis. Paracentesis or aspiration of the pericardial fluid and intracardiac injection. How to give? We have to give this injection or aspiration of pericardial fluid by two routes. We have to learn subcostal route and parasternal route. Subcostal route, you have to put a needle through the left costocephoid angle with an upward inclination of about 45 degree, so that you will be reaching the pericardial cavity and the fluid may be effectively drained if the patient is propped up. So if you become cardiac surgeons, you will be doing this paracentesis or aspiration of the pericardial fluid. And the one more route is parasternal route. So subcostal mean below this sternum you are giving this needle. Parasternal means by the side of the sternum. So your needle may be introduced through the left fourth or left fifth intercostal space close to the lateral margin of sternum, so that you should avoid injury to the left lung, pleura and internal thoracic artery. Intracardiac injection is preferred through this parasternal route only. So we have completed this pericardium topic, an important topic for you again in detail in this class. We have learnt the shape of pericardium, situation, parts of pericardium, outer fibrous and inner serous. Again we learnt the outer fibrous in detail, including the relations of the fibrous pericardium, and the inner serous pericardium consisting of outer parietal and inner visceral layer. Then we learnt these two important sinuses of this visceral layer, transverse sinus and oblique sinus, and we covered the relations of the transverse and oblique sinus in detail. We added a note on this fold of left vena cava or fold of Marshall, and we have completed the applied anatomy, including the injection, intracardiac injection also. So I hope you should have understood this. We will meet with the external features of the heart in the next video. Those who have not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe now. Keep watching the videos. Thank you.